An independent elections monitor and observer group, Impart Africa, is in the affirmative on this while giving an assessment report on the various activities carried out by the Nigerian Army throughout the election period. Clever TV's Uju Onyemechalu was at the news briefing in Abuja and now reports.
The country director, Impart Africa, Dr. Adams Otaku, while delivering the report, says the Nigerian Army played a vital role and commendable role in providing security before, during and after the elections. He lauded the Army particularly in ensuring prompt arrival of electoral materials, prevention of violence, kidnap, assault and intimidation.
And in the course of the election, we observed as an independent voice that monitored the election, that the Nigerian Army played a very critical role and quite commendable, and roles that had good impact on the outcome of the election. One, we noted and observed that there were prompt arrival of election materials to respective polling units, which was attributable to the cozy, conducive atmosphere created by the Nigerian Army, because they were deployed to respective states and polling units where elections were conducted, especially in volatile states and states that were considered to be combustible states. So we noticed that and observed that because of the conducive, safe atmosphere that they provided, personnel of INEC were able to arrive at the centers on time without interference. So it was significant, and this is unusual. Again, the practice that had been in time past. So generally, we noticed that election materials and personnel arrived promptly in 90% of polling units that elections were held across the country.
Fielding questions on vote buying evidence at some polling units, Adams says compared to previous elections, vote buying and underage voting reduced significantly by 85%, attributing the progress to the intervention of the Nigerian Army.
Part of the impacts created by the presence of men of the Nigerian Army was the prevention of vote buying. You know, Nigeria, one of the factors and crises that had hitherto ambushed our electoral process is the issue of vote buying. Politicians are often in the habit of going to polls and trying to induce voters, trying to gratify them. But for the availability and presence of men and women of the Nigerian Army in the recent poll in Nigeria, we realized and observed that vote buying was minimized significantly. The trend of vote buying and bargain for higher amount of vote and selling of them in most part of the country has been a problem in our electoral system. However, the presence of officers and men of the Nigerian Army in some parts of the country prevented the incidence of vote buying and selling by 85%. Furthermore, the availability and presence of Nigerian Army members prevented what we had experienced in other previous polls, underage voting. We realized that this menace was minimized to significantly about 93%. There were no incidents as much as we used to have it, as much as we had it even in 2015 poll. This year's electoral poll, the incidence of underage voting was greatly reduced. And this is quite attributable to what the Nigerian Army did. Intimidation and harassment of voters. The presence of officers and men of the Nigerian Army minimized different forms of threats, harassment, intimidation, and assault from politicians by 85%.
Impart Africa is an independent organization which focuses on good governance and development in Africa. Uju Onyemechalu reporting for Clever Television.